make
Sorry
sure
for
that
that. My
we
Zoom was updating.
no, you're good. I just text Nick and was like, make sure, can you call Robin and make sure he's still coming on? Sweet. So yeah,
That's what it
we're
is. No,
gonna I
I'm
would
here. Life and rock and roll, right? Ready to rock and roll, right? That's what it is, man.
awesome. Awesome. I appreciate that, brother. So yeah, so we're gonna have you speak about comping land and dispositioning your deals faster, right? So I always like to start off with just learning a little bit about your background, what you did before getting into the land space, and just real estate in general, and then we can dive in and talk about making some more money, man.
Oh my God, yeah. This is my favorite topic to talk about. How can we make more money in land, right? This is like always this. Hey,
Absolutely.
just a couple of sentences about myself. So I'm Robin Seib. I'm 38 years old. We live in Dallas and in Spain, right? So we spend a majority of our time in Europe, where I'm born and raised. I'm born and raised in Germany. Um, Started my real estate career over there like 14 years ago, right? And was always on the service side, had a huge construction company with 150 employees, and got burned out 2018 the first time. And after that, I swapped sides and went from construction to house flipping, actually, and
Nice.
with my partner. And yeah, man, that was interesting times because in our first year, I think we flipped 100 houses. In our second year, like 300 houses. And I was like, after 2 years doing that, I was like burnout again, right? Because when you deal with 300 projects and have like your construction crews and like the interesting thing about construction guys, so we have construction people here on the call, like Chris or Andres or something now. Like they tell you always like this one thing. When you ask them when it's finished, they tell you tomorrow, but they never exactly define what tomorrow they mean, right? The tomorrow, the one in a week, in a month, in a year, or in a lifetime, right? So I spent after that, like, oh no, it was 2019, end of 2019. I had the opportunity to spend 2 months in Australia. So I went to Australia for 2 months, came back and said, my partner, I'm out, right? And he said, okay, but like, hey, there's this guy coming from the United States and is talking about land flipping in the US, right? I was Jack Bosch at that time. He's German too, and he made one event in Germany. And I said, okay, that sounds so crazy. Let me just go and join that event, right? And then Jack was there, like, and talked 3 days about like, hey, this is how you can flip land in the US, and you can do that from everywhere in the world, and you just need your laptop. And I said, that's really fascinating. And when 10% over the profit potential and all that of that, what he's saying is the truth, this is what I want to do. So I had never been in the US. I was hardly speaking English at that point. I had no clue what was going on, right? So, but I said to my partner, let's go all in. And we took some money together, joined coaching, founded our first company, 6th of April, 2020. What happened on 6th of April, 2020? The whole world shut down, right? For COVID, right? Like you were not able to travel. We couldn't open bank accounts. It was just a nightmare. We couldn't join like their live events, which were scheduled in Phoenix for later that month. And so, man, and I said, okay, it doesn't matter. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. I'm an entrepreneur. We'll figure it out on the way, right? So we started sending letters and massive outreach and did so much wrong. And I really needed a year and like a couple of, it was $300,000 spent on that point on coaching and all that other crap, because we wanted to build that on a huge scale because this is like what we do, right? And we needed a year to land our first deal. And the interesting part was a deal in California. I will never forget that. There were three adjacent lots, right? I put them on three different contracts and so bought them from the same buyer to the same seller on three different contracts. That means I paid 6 times closing costs. And in California, that can be pricey. And from my $20,000 profit, I owed the title company in the end $65. So I called that guy up and said, like, hey, Mister, like, I worked that whole deal for you. Like, what can we do? And he gave me like a $66 discount. So I made $1 on my first deal, right? But that was 2021 in April, and like from there it just like evolved, right? I mean, we made this that year like 70 deals, and I was like over 300 in 2022 again, and up to date, I think our deal count is around something around 1,400 deals, and we specialized pretty early in the acquisition of packages, right? because I don't like the acquisition game, right? Like, I mean, we work with lead mining pros in that time too, and do that up to today, right? But like, it was all this like negotiating, and I said, well, I can talk to one seller, and he has like 50 lots. And the first package I ever bought was 144 lots in 24 counties in Florida. I had no clue what I
Wow.
was doing. First time I used private money to take something down, it was like ridiculous, right? But we bought it for 300 and I sold the whole package for over $2 million in the end. So that was a pretty steep deal, right? And
Wow.
but what it allowed us was to build a disposition system, right? Because I mean, you change the game a little bit. Everybody's hunting down that lots, and then you drop that off like somewhere and hope that it sells, right? And we were
Mhm.
in the position now, we had inventory. Like it was, we bought a 144 lot package, the next month a 50 lot package, the next month a 30 lot package. And now I had like over 200 lots to disposition, right? So, and do due diligence on 200 lots, create listing materials on 200 lots, right? Like, and this is what we needed to do. Like, how do you bring them in the market? Do you market with realtors? Do you market like, what are the different channels? So we tested that for a long while. And so we ramped up sales really, and people started asking, "Hey, can you sell my lots for me?" Right? Like, "Hey, you're doing so well in dispo," and I said, "Yeah, okay." And that was when we just like founded the land pilot and the online land market. And what we do today is we help land investors more or less with selling their lots for them. Right? We do that in a way of a JV and assignments style, right? Like you can get assigned the deal to us, we take it down in 30 days, or we JV on that, we take it down in 30 days, and then you get paid in 30 days, or you get paid whenever we sell the lot, right? And this is what we do today. Yeah, like really helping people like going through that process because everybody's talking disposition acquisitions in our industry, right? But nobody talks about three other things, and that's disposition, funding, and transaction, because that's like the three most important things. Because you can have a contract when you don't have a good way to market it, when you don't have a way to maybe take down a deal, especially in the market where we are. Um, and when you don't have like a skill set to guide the transaction too, right? Everybody, like
Yeah.
Francisco, you've been probably through a lot of title issues in your life, right? You know that this can come up, right? Like because like land titles are like a little bit more messy than other titles, right? So
Yeah.
um yeah, and this is what we do today. That's what the land pilot is about, man.
Sweet. Now I did have
Yeah.
you said you mentioned a lot of interesting things as well too in regards to were you saying that your niche was going after sellers that had multiple parcels?
Yeah, that was the niche at that point. And because and we do it until today, right now we're picking up a 200 lot package in Hilltop Lakes in Texas, right? um and it's we learned a lot over the past couple of years, like how do you disposition subdivisions, right? Like how do you retail them? This is what we really do, because this is where the juice is. You can pick up a subdivision and flip it and wholesale it to somebody else, but the real juice is like really in the disposition game, how you do that. Yeah, this is what we do mainly. And
Yeah.
I mean, our own acquisitions team, we do a bunch of recreational parcels that are like $100,000 plus, right? That's like our target, where we go into and look at a certain profit potential. And yeah, and mainly what we help others with is just like getting these bigger deals together, right? Like right now, got an opportunity presented in Texas. It's worth 580. We buy it for 300 and display it then, right? Just like navigating the complexity of a purchase like this, right? Like this is what we really do with our partners together and run a community of around 1,200 people. Yeah.
Sweet. And I think that's a perfect segue to kind of ask because I mean, doing those package deals, obviously, there's a lot of logistics that go involved depending on your disposition strategy. So, what's your main disposition strategy on making sure that all of them sell or majority of them sell? Like, how do you go about that?
Yeah. So dispo is like a crazy thing to do because while we started doing this as a service, what we realized is a good sale starts in the beginning, and this is with comps, right? You need to be in the right market and pull the right comps to really like get the right parcel for the right price in inventory, right? Because I mean, like you have here this water bottle. right? You can probably sell it, I don't know, for $5, but you could never sell it for $25 other than you're in a nightclub in the right environment. But like, you know what I mean? It's like you have like a certain sales price that is set, right? And the juice in our business is we're like a Costco of land, right? Like, how does Costco make money? They buy stuff on a discount and sell it to you for more, right? And I think that's the most important thing is that you, and this is what we realized last year, especially in the market where we are in, right? Like the market pulled a little bit back over the past 18 months, right? And we got properties submitted for selling. And when you get something that's worth $20,000, right? And you have like your partner has it valued for 35, which is probably was worth 2 years ago or 3 years ago, then you can't just display it for 35 at that moment, right? That's the first thing. So know your comps, know your markets. I think that's like always what I say. This is where good sales starts, right? Um, our dispo process like was until mid of last year pretty complex, right? Like everything you learn in courses is like what we did, like listed on different land websites. I don't know. We have a pretty major land.com account, which is when you do a deal volume and do a certain deal type, land.com is still a pretty strong lead source, right? Like I would always recommend that. Like when you do like larger acreage, residential acreage, right? Like that's like the route you want to go. You want to list it with a realtor, right? And like this is probably the most complex thing is finding the right realtors that know their markets. Because like when you go to an average realtor, he will say, of course, yes. But what he will do with your listing, he will go to his MLS, hit a button, and say your property is worth $50,000. And what he just does is he goes on a radius and pulls every single comp he finds in 5 miles or 10 miles or 20 miles. And suddenly you compare again like your pears with apples, right? So you need to really find that good realtors that understand the local market and can explain you why is this worth so much, right? And then again, average Joe, what he does, he lists it on the MLS and forgets about you, right? Because I mean, our land sales, I don't know what you guys are targeting, and I'm happy to learn more about that guys today. But when you have an $80,000 property selling, right, that might be for you a huge deal. But your realtor, when you pay him 6% commission, right, he gets from that 6%, 3%, right? That's $2,400 and shares that 60/40 with his broker probably, right? So from that, like, what is left from that like $2,400, right? Like it's nothing in the end, right? Like he makes $1,200, $1,500. So I think always working with realtors, you need to understand when you start working with them, are they really land realtors? Have they sold land, right? Like what's the experience? Let them walk you through the property. We just figured out, like, I had a meeting before this meeting with my realtors acquisitions team. We have a full team that just does nothing else than finding the right realtors for dispo. And like what we figured out in the past couple of months is just like, the guys coming back to you and really immediately they ask you a bunch of critical questions about your contract situation and all that. And that's okay because they don't want to be in a fraud, right? I mean, land fraud is a real thing, and this is where they get like briefed on from the National Association of Realtors. So handle that objection up front. Hey, I have a legit contract, right? I mean, contracts is a huge topic. We can talk today like for like an hour or so, but like this is what you want to write down when you send out a contract. You want to have an EMD and a closing date in there. This is what they are looking for, right? And the EMD doesn't need to be like $20,000 or whatever. It can be on $100,000 parcels, $100. And you can have in there, you can back out anytime for any reason and whatever. But they looked for something because as soon as you put $1 in equity in that deal, you have an enforceable contract, right? Otherwise, when you send like the standard contracts I see, and I didn't know that before either, where it's like, hey, I can back out anytime for any reason, and I don't put any money in that deal, right? Then it's like, even when you would go to court and would sue them, like every judge would just take this piece of paper and say that's a dismiss because the contract is not valid, right? So prepare your contracts, brief them a little bit. and then have strong realtors. And I mean, beside of that, we do all kind of crap, right? Like neighborhood marketing is like a really important thing to do, right? Like engage with the neighbors. Also, in the market where we are, we do a bunch of cold outreach to related industries, right? Like what is that? Construction companies, that can be contractors, that can be mobile home companies, that can be RV companies in the area, that can be hunting associations, right? Like you want to really try in this market where we had to engage in a proactive outreach to like local buyers that are commercial buyers, because it's public data. You can call them, you can just say, hey, I have this lot, what do you think about that? This is my price, right? And you will move them faster, right? So direct outreach to neighbors and other and related industries is like a major point. Facebook Marketplace, right? If you have it, great, guys. If you don't have it, try to get access on that, especially on lower value parcels, right? Facebook Marketplace is a good thing. Local advertising in local Facebook groups is a good thing. I mean, at one point you want to try to build like buyers lists in your areas that you're working, right? Like people that inquire one time or that come to your website, leave their email, send them emails about that. So I'm a huge fan of like really doing more because it gives you a faster result. We are living in the business of selling fast, right? This is what it is, right? And last but not least, one major disposition strategy, especially when you have lots under $40,000, is right now owner financing. You need to find ways working with private money lenders, note buyers, whatever, to bring owner financing in place that you make that affordable. Yeah.
And Robin, what markets do you primarily like target? Because I know you mentioned Florida, California. Is it just all over, or do you have like certain cities or markets that you target specifically?
Yeah, I mean, like, what's a normal, like, I don't know, like, you guys probably went through some kind of programs, right? Like, and what I hear from, no matter if it's LPG or Joe McCall or whatever, like, what's taught a lot is like, hey, target a county and send mailers in there, right? And we changed that approach a little bit and said, okay, we wanna make a certain amount of profit on a deal, right? That we can do that. The deal needs to have a certain lookalike, right? Like it needs to be, I don't know, when your strategy is to make $20,000 in profit, right? In average, then you want to at least look at lots that are an average $50,000 worth, right? Because when you buy them for 50%, that's $25,000. You have some closing costs. You need to pay your realtor maybe 10%. Then you have around $20,000 left, right? So we really hunt down products that are in markets that have certain characteristics, right? We'll look at markets where it's not too much going on, but where's also something going on, right? Like this is where all of the magic starts, like being in the right markets. And I mean, there's brilliant tools out there today where you can determine that, like the Land Portal or Land Insights, where you can really run big data analysis on what's going on. So we really hunt in our own markets a certain lot type, and that's all over the place, man. Like I did my first deal in Maine last month. Like I have never done a deal in Maine before, right? Like, and everybody's like, Maine, like, what do you do there, right? Why don't you go to Florida and Georgia? No, we just go after the product type and just like then find solutions for the markets, of course, because there are markets that are um, more restrictive than others for wholesalers, right? There are markets that need longer, but our goal is always to take down lots too, right? To buy them instead of double closing. Um, because we just figured out for us, like double closing was always the biggest threat of the transaction, right? Like because the complexity of a double closing, it's nice when it works, but you have like a seller, you have a buyer, you have a buyer's agent, you have your own agent, you have a title company, and all of that can have issues in that whole transaction. Like your seller backing out, suddenly like six people are yelling at you and you don't make a dime in profit, right? So this is just like what we found, but there are certain markets where I see people like really performing great on all of this. Does that make sense? So
Yep.
it's just like how do you want to guide your business? But we hunt down a certain property type, and we don't really care where it is.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think like with me, at least in my background, and a couple other people here on the call, we primarily sell like infill lots. So like
Yeah.
infill lots will sell to residential home builders, and things of that nature. Have you ever like dabbled in that space, or has it just always been like buy low and sell high type of thing?
No, it's I mean that's a legit strategy, right? We have like a couple of clients that do that. Like the lot I mentioned earlier, the one which was 580 buying us here first 300 is an infill lot in McKinney, Texas, in like a beautiful HOA, right? And I know that HOA the houses are selling there 1.5 to 2.5 million dollars, right? So that's a lot which you can advertise in that market. But
Mhm.
I think the secret for infill lots, and when I look at the successful people doing that, is like really focusing on a right area and then building the right team, right? You wanna really swing the phone and say like and pull a list of builders, send them emails, call them, say, hey, I'm in that area. What are you looking for? What's your buy box, right? Like determine what can you pay me for a lot like this in that neighborhood and in that neighborhood and in that neighborhood. And it's not the D.R. Hortons you call, right? You call like small average Joe, like Jorge or whoever you call them, right? Like a small builder that builds like 12 homes, 5 homes a year. And you then build a list again, right? And when you have a lot, just throw it out to your list and probably you will have a buyer in like a day, right? I know a guy who does that in Northport in Florida, right? Like, man, he gets that thing under contract for breakfast and sells it until lunch because he has the right list in place, right? So when you do this strategy, it's like a volume. There's this other two guys. It's two brothers. I started following them a couple of days
The
ago.
Apke brothers.
No, not the Apke brothers. There's two other
Oh,
guys. They're blonde. The Apke brothers are like brunette, right? So no, but like what it is man, they make like 3,000 assignments a year or something like that, right?
wow.
So it's like pretty crazy, but like in the end, it's the same thing. When you decide for a market, and maybe it's your market, right? Like it's where you live, right? I was like, what I don't understand, like when I was living abroad, I would have wished, right? I would have been in that market, or it could be local somewhere, right? And do deals there because then you can go there, you can see the lot, you can meet the builder, you can meet the seller, right? Like but I think for infill lots, it's always about the buyer, right? This is like a general strategy. When you identify your buyers, when you get in touch with them, build that relationships, then you can build like a fantastic business around that.
Sweet. No, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And I think that's been my bread and butter for the better half of like 4 years of selling directly to builders or mom and pop developers. But everyone that I've networked with that does something similar to you, whether it's like dispositioning with land.com or open, doing novations or listing it with the realtors, their average deal size is always like north of like 20 grand per deal, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to working with realtors and listing the properties that we get like under contract, is there any like specific language that you use or any specific like details that's worth mentioning that could be used for someone getting started in this particular realm?
So what I would do, man, is when you do this business, I think like the assignment business, right? Like building on a local market like that. The greatest advice I can give is like there's a guy in Houston, Bhaskar, I don't know his last name. You know him probably, right?
I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
It starts
So
with a
and
P,
he
like
built a
Patty or Paddy.
yeah, like he's Indian, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he has a last name a German never could pronounce or even speak out, right? Like so like nobody can speak out my last name in a correct way, probably. But hey, he built a significant business on that. Or there's another group in Houston, Alan Quintero and Ajay, right? Like they just do that for a living. They got a lot, and what they did is they literally called every builder in the area, right, and said, "Hey, I have this lot. Are you interested in that? What's your buy box?" And this is how they build their buyers list, right? And so it's an initial effort you need to take, but it's well spent because you know everybody focuses so much on getting that, but nobody thinks about the back. Who do I sell it to? But when you do that work with the first lot you have, and you build that relationships, right? And we are anyway in a relationship business, right? Like when you start building that relationships, take the phone, right? I see Chantel here or Ant or a TA, right? Hey, I'm TA. Like I'm a local investor. I come across lots all the time. I was just wondering, man, do you have like what are you looking for in that area? Might you be interested in that? Like what's your typical buy box? Okay, what you do is you note down what they say, then you call the next one. spend a week or two on that, 3 weeks, like just like to call up every day, like three, four, five people, right? Hey, we invest in the area. We have like a bunch of lots always coming in my inventory. Um, and then then you build that relationship. Probably what I would do instead of automating it in the beginning and sending emails, what you do is like you have your first lot under contract. You just call them up, say, "Hey, Francisco, hey, we talked a while back, like 3, 4 weeks back. Remember that? Man, I have a lot here in 123 Street, and it's like 0.2 acres. Utilities are on site. It's clear. Like, might you be interested? Do we have openings to purchase it?" Probably from 10, 9 will say no, but there will be one which says yes, right? And by time that will grow, the more deals you do, the more of a reliable resource you will become for these builders to source their deals, right? Like, because they ultimately make money with selling houses and you bring them the base that they can sell a house, right? That can also be mobile home people, right? Like, and mobile homes, it's weird. Last week, a lady on our weekly call, which is always Thursdays on 5 p.m., and she does that for a living. She buys plots, puts a mobile home on that, and she makes an average like 60 grand in profits on each deal, right?
Wow.
Um, so that's what it is. It's I think what I would do, like and we still do that when we go in new areas, like for that main lot, we sold it to a local spec home builder, and that was a cold outreach we did to that builder. We said like, hey, you know what, we're new in the area, we have this lot. Um, can you tell us a little bit more about that? And he liked it, right? And he said, yeah, I'm gonna buy it for that price. I said, yeah, was I think 10% off that what we had it on the market for. But I said, that's great, let's do a deal, right? And this is what you need to do. Always think about your buyers, and the more local you are, the fewer buyers you will have. So spend some time on getting that rolling. And here's the deal, right? When I don't know like what your goals are, but when you want to make $100,000 a deal, right? You have multiple ways of doing that. You can do one deal, like that's a $500,000 deal, and make that. But also when you want to like work with lead mining pros, for example, right? They're great. They produce you all the leads you get, so you have the seller part already done. You just need to talk to sellers. But when you now have, I don't know, a list of 30 builders in the area, 40 builders, 50 builders, then no, you call them up, you have a pre-existing relationship, right? And then you get your first contract. What you do is you just call that 50 people and you will know you will sell it, right? And you make your first $5,000. When you make $100,000 a year, right? Maybe when it's 10% assignment fee or whatever that is, you make that 20 times a year, that's $100,000 salary for what? Like maybe in total, like 3 months of total work you put into that. Does that make sense?
Yep. No, yeah, that's 100% true. We also got some questions in the chat that I want to get to. Someone, Patience asked, I have 10 infill lot owners ready to sell, but not sure how to comp it to make them offers. How do you go about comping land, Robin?
So first of all, we run like a 2 times a week comms call. It's always Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's from 8:30 CST to 10 CST. What we do there is we are always like 15, 20 people on that call, and they bring their lots, right? Like they submit it and we look at the lots together. And what we talk is how do we comp them? Like we really go deep into the analysis of the comps live on that call, right? That's not like fake comps we pull from somewhere. It's like really the projects of our community. And we talk also through like how can you structure contracts, how can you take that down? Because when you have 10 info lots patients, you always need to have in mind, maybe you have one builder that can use 10 lots, but maybe you need 2 or 3 or 4 builders. Does that make sense? And also, always when you buy packages that are concentrated in one area, like how many sold comps do you find in that area, right? When you have in that subdivision or like in a little further range, like 5 lot sales, and suddenly you throw 10 lots in the official market, you make the market, right? So you have a bunch of inventory. You need to see like how much can that be absorbed. But what I would do, patients, you just like comping with us, we also have a comping a comp service, right? We comp you 50 properties a month for $300, right? And my team does that. We've comped like 25,000 properties in the past 5 years. So they're really super accurate when it comes back to that. But when you comp them, always have in mind that you can't sell them all once in a time, or you sell it to one builder who wants 10 lots in that area, right? That could be an exit strategy too. And when you do a great job with your builders, they will tell you what they can pay. and then you can take it from there, right? So when you have 10 lots and that your builder gives you 50 grand, right, for each lot in that area, right, that has this and this status, then you know it's $500,000. Then probably you can offer him 400, your seller, and make $100,000 in profit, right? Like that was just a constructed example, but like when you have your builders in the back end, when you do this infill lot game, then you want to just find the right one. A couple of more phone calls. It's probably not the usual builder you call, right? It's probably another network of builders that can take down 10 when you normally sell to people who take down one or two at a time, right? But when you don't sell to builders, like man, like it's just like really checking the market, how is the absorption rate to define discounts to, right? Like how fast can they sell when you put it in the open market, and this is what you need to do. Yeah.
And can you
Um,
drop like maybe a link to the live meetings as
yeah,
well too?
just like check out it's thelandpilot.com, right? Thelandpilot.com. It's $149 a month, and like to be honest, all the people that get in there's some. We train our own team in that calls too, right?
Mhm.
And it's just like a lot of value you get in there because we really take care of that part. You have the contract, or you're on the way to your contract. How do you deal with that transaction? And that's like, like we had another guy in Oklahoma, like the other day, he was sitting on $100,000 parcel, right? It was worth 200, and he needed to buy it, right? And it was tough to fund it because there was this particular situation there. So I said, hey, why don't you go back to your seller and offer him owner financing, right? This is how you structure that. This is what you pay down. This is what you do. And in the end, he went in that deal with $0 down and monthly interest payments of like, what was that? I think $625 for a year. So now a year of time for free to sell it, right? So you got control over an asset for $625 a month, and like some closing costs of $2,500 for like, which was worth $200,000, right? This is what we really do in this calls, right? So to go through that.
Sweet. Robin, we got another question that says, Tanya, please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. We have 8 lots under contract in Maryland, different counties, and we have not sold them in 4 months now. We tried reaching out to builders in the areas and markets on land.com, but still have not sold any of them. How best can we go about it to sell these lots soon? Because we have revised and changed the contract end dates.
Maryland is special right now, right? I don't know if you just like were realizing that there was some election going on last year, right? Like, and there's some political things happening, and you have like a bunch of the whole market blew up there. Does that make sense? So there is what we see. It's like similar in the Austin market, right? The Austin market is oversaturated with lot sales, right? So what you first want to do is you want to check your competition, right? This is what you consistently want to do, Tanya, right? Like you want to really check, are my comps, right? Am I priced right? When you haven't sold a lot in 4 months, you're probably not priced right, or the market just like shifted and you have too much competition. There can be two reasons. When you have 8 lots, haven't sold one of them, there's always a third thing what can happen, that the condition of the lot is bad, right? That there's something going on. There's a ditch, there's water on it, man, I've seen gophers on the property. I had a neighbor dumping his old cars on the property. I had another neighbor shooting on people that were visiting the property. Like, it's wild what's going out there, right? So what you really want to do is like determine in your in when you do that, and especially when you have it a longer time, how has the market reacted in the past 3-4 months, right? Like how much inventory is on the market, how much has been sold, how is my price point towards my competition, and this is where you adjust, because like I said before, you can sell this bottle of water for $5, but you probably can't sell it for $20, right? So this is what you consistently want to correct, and this is what we monitor. It's one of our KPIs we look a lot on. Is every month we check the lots. How's the market change? How's our pricing towards the market when we haven't sold it yet, to get it done? And in the end, I don't know what lots these are, Tanya, but it also depends. Is it infill lots, residential acreage? Is it, I don't know, like any kind of agricultural lots, timberland lots? There can be many reasons that you maybe market to the wrong people, that your price is too high, that there's some issues going on. This will become both residential and commercial. Yeah. Like, like with that little I know, I can tell you commercial properties are completely different comp than residential properties, right? Like in residential properties, we look what has been sold, we build average per acre prices and then break it down, right? Um, Commercial lots, you need to look what can be built on that parcel and how much can that lease out for, and then reverse engineer that, right? But Tanya, if you want, like this is like also what we discuss in our comms calls. People bring lots they don't sell, right? Like and we can bring that up. But most of the time in 85% it's the pricing, 10% is the market shifted, and the rest 5% is just like something going on, right? But like really running the right comps in the beginning is crucial, and monitoring that over the time of the sale too.
Yeah. And then also, Robin, I don't know if you are familiar with land stats, but land stats is also something that I've been for those of you guys who have been coming weekly, that is something that I've been talking about weekly. That also helps for market research, and then also helps you kind of like get a good feel for how long something should sit on the market if you do try to put it out there and stuff like that. So that's been a good resource for me too. So Tanya, if you're
Yeah,
open to,
I think that's an important point, Francisco, right? Like that you
yeah,
really need to check your market. There's like land stats, I know land stats, there's a land portal, there's land insights, there's so many great tools today. But also it can be a good having a good conversation with a realtor about that market, right? Like that's sold a couple of lots there. Call them up, say, hey, I have this lots and they're not selling, what's going on? Like, and commercial properties, you always want to sell them with a commercial broker, right? And always be prepared. Commercial lots normally you sell them to developers, they have longer turnaround times. Normally anything between like 6 and 12 months, because like a buyer would go in there, they want to get some studies done and they would have a contingency, right? Like, hey, open of my plan approvals or whatever that would be in their contract, right? That's what it is.
you know. And Tanya, how big are the residential lots? 2 acres. So real quick, and again, we could touch on this more in more detail at a later time, but I'll just briefly cover it real quick, just for the sake of kind of like market research to piggyback on what Robin was talking about. But land stats will also show you. Land stats will show you kind of like it'll bring Zillow into kind of like a table format, and then this specific zip code that you're in, Tanya, you can kind of see that you said, let me see, I think you said it was 1 to 2, 0.31 to 2 acres. So let's just do the 0 to 1 and 1 to 2 acre range. So in the last 90 days, you can see 8 went up for sale, but then only 6 sold, right? And then the same thing with the 1 to 2 acres, you can see that if you want to go 6 months, right, 11 sold and
What does that even mean?
So
It means you're talking.
sorry about that, guys. 11 went up for sale in 6 months, and then if you look at sold, 13 went up for sale. So ideally, what you want to see is you want to see sold count be greater than the for sale count, right?
Yeah.
Now, depending on how
Absolutely.
you got, depending on where you got them, how you got them priced, and also the location of these lots will give you kind of like an indication of where you should be expecting to, to kind of be at. Now, if you're at the 4 month mark, you got to kind of figure out like, okay, what is it about either the pricing or the location that's causing to have this sale get delayed if you have it listed on the market, right? But even in the 1 to 2 range, for sale went up what 30 in the last 30 days, 1 sold 2. So it's not like things are moving off the shelf. It's not like a lot of activity, but you also want to make sure that you look at, and you can toggle back and forth on Zillow, do this exact same thing as well too. Landstats just make it easier because it's just a table format as well too. So just as a resource, it's Landstats is like $99 a month. So if you want to kind of like play with it and stuff like that, the Apke brothers actually put me on Landstats. So that's what I've been using to do my due diligence on market research and stuff like that.
Yeah, Landsats is pretty good. Like you need to get the
Yeah.
data-driven approach, especially the market where we are in, right? So we saw last year around like 350 or 400 properties, and what we have seen last year is a doubling in turnaround times, right? So the markets are generally moving much slower. And we see and that's just across all markets, right? Like it's just there were markets that were needed 3 times the time, right? And there's other markets that are and another stat we found out, or statistics was that we found out that the prices over the whole country dropped by around 20%, right? Like, and that's really compared to everything, really high level overview, right? And you need to just be prepared for that, right? Like I think our obligation as land wholesalers or land investors is to make things happening as entrepreneurs, right? And when you see a market is shifting, then you need to react on that, right? So yeah, Tanya, what you really want to do is you want to look in the market with land stats or land insights or whatever that is, and just like really check what are your comparables looking like? How is the market looking like? How much is listed? How much has been sold? On what price points have this sold? And also look the soft data, right? The problem in the land space is, wait, we can probably pull this up like real quick. Wait.
And Robin, just FYI, you can share your screen if you need to, just in case.
Yeah, well, I can do that. Let me see, like 20657, right? Let me pull that up here. I share my screen right now. So when you look here, right, I've just put in the zip code, right? Like, and now we just like go here. What do you say there? Maximum 2 acres. So what you see in the whole, oops, no, don't remove the boundary. What was that? So you have right now like land listings 32, right? Like in the county, right? Like up to, what was that? My God, what do we do? Sorry, my mouse is lagging today. I don't know. My computer is just like, I don't know, does whatever it wants. So, and you know what I see here is low to high. You see lots for $6,000, $8,000, right? And then you see a bunch of lots here for 25, 35, 45, right? Like 52. So there's diversity, right? You want to find out, why is this diversity? Second thing, what I would look now, you have 32 listings for sale, right? You want to just like look here, what has been sold in the past 12 months, right? And when you go here in 12 months, 32 have been sold. Like that means in a year, you have 32 listings that sold on different price points, right? And you have like 32 listings. That means it's 100%, right? Sales rate. But the problem is you probably will need a year to sell those. Does that make sense? So this is what indication could be. Also, you want to check where in these locations, when you look at that, you have concentration down here, right? In the city, what is it? Chesapeake Ranch, Durham Point, right? You have a concentration here. But like when your lots are here somewhere or in White Sands, there's like not a lot going on traffic, right? So that could be a thing. Maybe just the turnaround time is longer there in the market where you are. Does that make sense?
Hey, so how did you get to that screen? 'Cause, like I try to do some market research just exactly how you were showing right now, but sometimes I can't get to find those filters. So what you just had sold, then you had a more tab. What was your selection on the board?
So what I did is I put in the zip code, right? Like, I mean, that's like really on the zip code level, right? Because we're buildable lots. You could even open it up by removing the boundaries, right? So you get like all the surroundings, but we wanted to look in the zip code now, right? And then it's always like two things, right? You have here the sold or for sale button, right? And then you have the right home type here, right? You just choose land. And then what I try to do is I try to determine the lot size, right? Like, because I don't want to see anything what's irrelevant, right? Like, and here we have like, what did you say, 0.21 to 2 acres or 2.5 acres. So my filter gives me here the opportunity to filter to 2, right? So I just go a little higher that I see the 2.5 acres and the 2.7 acres too, right? And then I look here for the sold ones for the past 12 months, right? And then what it does, it gives me the count of that one has been sold in the last months. And then I just like filtered them like low to high and just like look, okay, where's my lot price at? Where did I price it at? And see if that like matches that what I see here, right? Also, on the for sale thing, you do the same thing. You just switch the button, see what's in the market, and like look, for example, this one, right? $6,000 lot, it's 6,500 square feet, right? And in the land space, man, it's like so soft, right? Because like the official data you have now, in your market, like how fast it's moving. But what you don't see is like, do we have any kind of utilities, right? Like, you need to screen the pictures to check, is that really a comment? Sorry, like, it's connection, I guess. Can you hear me again? Can you hear me okay? Sorry.
Yeah, you
I
good.
have some issues. But so what I said is when you run comps on land, you have like different layers of information, right? Like the filters we had on there were now just the market. Now you go on a level that you look at the two next data points, right? You look at price and you look at size, right? But what you will see is like, I don't know, like let's check it out. You have here 0.27 acres here for 15,000, right? And you have a 0.35 acres here for 45,000, right? Here it's pretty obvious why that is. This is a lakefront lot, while this other one here, where was that here? This one is just like an infill lot somewhere, but sometimes it's not that obvious, right? Here it's a corner lot, right? Like, or here it's another waterfront lot or whatever that is. You really need to go in the details. Why is that one thing selling for 15 and why is that other thing selling for 45, which is the same size and looks the same on the first view, right? And sometimes you need to find the answer in these pictures, right? Like, oh, like, look, this lot here is heavily wooded, right? Like maybe the other lot that you compared with is cleared. Maybe this lot has utilities and the other one doesn't have, right? So it's like a lot of soft research when you run comps to really determine what is the pricing of that. When you do infill lots, hey, is it water or is it well? Is it septic or is it sewer? Right? Like how far away is the sewer, right? Like, can I connect it or does it make more sense to bring a septic system? Will determine the value for the builder because when I can connect to the sewer system, it costs the builder maybe a $2,000 tap fee. But when you need to build a septic system, it's at $15,000 that will cost, right? So that's $30,000 or $15,000 less in value on your lot in the end because the builder needs to bring the work in. Does that make sense? So this is like really the art of comping is how I call that. It's like really determining that when you run this comps, that you compare apples with apples and not like apples with pears, right? And this just is experience, guys. You need to have to look at a bunch of lots while you do that, get the input about your market. And man, and in the markets I did for a long time, like we did a bunch of deals in Tallahassee in Florida, like for 3 years. We did around like 200 deals in the Tallahassee area in Florida. In that 5 counties surrounding Tallahassee, I can pull up blind a parcel and can tell you what it's worth because we comped so many parcels there. And I've been there. I've driven through the subdivisions. I know how the roads are. I know how the slope is, the soil is, right? Like where water and sewer is, right? Like you can indicate all of that. And this is what you learn by time. Does that make sense? But the comping process that you know now how to filter this data for the right data, this is like one of the majorities where you will make most of your money. It's like one of the most relevant skills is to build out this comps when you don't have like builders that tell you what they're going to pay you for that lot. Does that make sense?
100%.
Did that
Someone
answer your
asked,
question? I'm sure. Sorry, that was a bunch of information in like in that, right?
oh, you went in detail.
Yeah, I actually appreciate it because I was trying to use the I was trying to use a different feature to comp. Like I would type in an address and then I would go and scroll down to like where it showed you the little map and I would hit lot lines. And that lot lines like was good, but I wanted to see it more on the screen that you were showing me. And I actually literally just backtracked. Like I have two monitors, so on one monitor I actually had the property pulled up with the lot lines. And then I did what you said as far as like typing in the zip code, and I did the filters, which I knew about the filters, but I didn't really think about that 2 acre thing. I don't know why that never really crossed my mind, but as I was looking at market, because see, I have this partner who's trying to dispo these lots at like 38,000 for 2 lots, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how I can be of use for her in dispo because I know how to find buyers. It's not a problem. It's just like, did they usually lock up the property too high? Because she wants to make 10,000, and it's like that's great. I want to make 10,000 so we can do a 5K JV too. I want to do that all day. But like, I was trying to figure out what the lots were locked up at, and yeah, because you could just tell that they just recently got it from the auction. Like, so it's like, all right, the auction sold at this price, so let me figure out what a buyer is willing to pay for it now at this moment. Because I'm looking at like comps, exactly like you said right now. There's 2 lots that went for 18K recently, and then there's 2 other lots that went for 11K. And the lot that they got from the auction, they spent 5,500. So my partner knows somebody that doesn't want to do the legwork. They want to make 38 from these 2 lots, and it's like I'm trying to figure out like, okay, I see 2 lots literally just sold here for 11K, so we can't really make a lot from these 2 lots because I'm looking at the other lot too, and it's just not really mapping out. So, but yeah, I appreciate it because I actually use Zillow personally to comp already, and everybody says it's bad they use it for comps, but I'm kind of finding it contrary to what other people are saying. It's like I think that Zillow is from other realtors. I've actually heard that like those are your best comps with the Zillow sold. So I'm just glad that like what I'm doing is not the wrong method, but I liked how you did the zip code thing because I knew about that too, but I didn't ever think to put them both right next to each other and be able to filter out the 30-day solds because in the 30-day solds, that's where I can tell my partner like, yo, we need to figure out if you're willing to take a lesser assignment fee because they want 10,000. Like it's basically like a daisy chain or whatever you want to call it, but it's not because I'm trying to be of use, I'm trying to be of value, and I'm still trying to educate them on why, like, hey, if you want to JV with me, we can, but it's not possible really to make 10K on this assignment. So anyway, I just really appreciate for you clearing that up because, yeah, I needed
And
that.
like this is what the reality is too, right? Like we learned that last year. We dumped around 50% of partner properties because that process was not done right. This is why we launched this comps call, right? Like this and the comps service, because like you better back out of an opportunity in that market where we are than pursuing something which is not worth pursuing, right? Because a lot of people look on all data, right? When they comp stuff, right? But this is where you really want to be accurate, right? Let me show you something, right? I got this property here. Show you that. It's this particular parcel here, right? It's in Florida, right? So this parcel now, and now you get your sales going here, right? Like you just like have a look like what has been moved, like let's call it in the past 12 months, right? And then you zoom out, right? And then you see here, like, oh, that's sold, like, oh, wait, home type is land, right? So that sold for 550, that sold for 1.49, that sold for 240 and 100 and 140K. So what you now want to understand is why is this selling in the millions and why is this selling for $100,000? And and like when you go further north here, right, like the prices go up again, right? Like here it's 175, right? Here it's 450, like it's so diverse. But Like when you look here in that area, this is a full mobile home subdivision here, just manufactured homes around this roads, right? So that's a complete different asset which is sold there. While down here, what you see, it's like here are like nice little mansions. You see like how much roof size this one has here. Like it has a nice pool, like how much roof size, and then you compare it here. Over here, you have like your single wide and double wides and whatever. So what you need to do now when you comp it, you really need to look particularly in this subdivision. What do I find on comps to really price out your project right? Does that make sense? So it's like really a soft evaluation. You can't just say, hey, I drop a pin and make 5 miles radius. You will not get the right answer. Sometimes it can be one street here can be different than that street here, right? It can just be a fence line that decides if a lot is worth $50,000 or $100,000, right? And probably that's what happened with your thing. It was just comp wrong on the beginning, right? But this is like when your partners want more money, then you need to back out of the deal because it's like not worth pursuing your time. You should spend your time on things where you make money. And that means a lot of times saying no to opportunities because they just don't make sense.
100%. Yeah, I agree. Because like I said, I've been trying to find like other JVers. That was, see, I kind of went down a really crazy rabbit trail when I started getting mentored, and because I mean, land space is really different from single family homes, and honestly, so is single family. But it's such a different animal. You gotta schedule the buyer and schedule the seller to not see each other at the same time and be in the middle, and then how are you going to do the blind HUD? Are you going to do anything about seller seeing your assignment? It's just kind of different because when you deal with land, exactly how you said, reverse wholesaling basically is finding the buyer and everything, hitting up buyers, which I do actually attempt that method a lot, different markets. And I guess what I'm trying to say right now is like, for instance, like I have this other lot that I'm also about to do right now with the same method, and I can already tell that I will be literally wasting my time if this partner is not willing to take a lower assignment, because I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find wholesalers that cannot dispo their lot.
Yeah,
figure
and
out why.
because they don't want to put the work in. That's like the poor reality, right? Like it's just like when you do this like infill lot game, right? It's just like about how good are you at calling these builders and how frequently do you do that? Do you guys know Alex Hormozy? Who knows Alex Hormozy? And do you know him or TA? Otherwise, look him up. He says it's 100 actions a day, right? And like when your task right now is to call 100 builders a day, then just like do that, right? You can pull that list, you can watch that on online, and just like swing the phone. And when I was really impressed last year, I did last year like because so much things changed in the market, so I really like spent a bunch of time to talk with really successful land investors from all kinds, infill lots, residential, whatever it is. But what I found so fascinating is that everybody who was really successful in a different economy last year had a really good strategy to get buyers rolling actively through cold calling, through getting them out there, through making this approach and selling them to really good residential people, right? So, and I've seen like this is stack. Let me stack on that. Even asked in the chat, how can I start that, right? Like, how can I start that journey? Exactly like that, man. You call like maybe in your area, you call 50 builders and ask them for their buy box. What are they looking for? And then what you do is you filter all the lots in your area, like get them through a filter in the market. You tell like, for example, Nick and Francisco, hey guys, this is the data I'm looking for in this market. Pull me all the leads. And that's maybe 800 properties. And what they do is they start a text messaging and calling campaign, and the seller leads coming back to you. And then you need to talk to the sellers. And let's say you find something that's worth 50 and your buyer gives you, like your builder gives you 50 for it. Then you just need to negotiate them for like $45,000, $42,000. And you make like a $5,000, $8,000 assignment fee, right? This is how easy you can get this started. And I don't know, like on lead mining pros, the lowest package is like what, $250 or something like that. right? That can give you the first 8 grand when you're willing to put the legwork in. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it
Sure.
does. Thank you so
Great.
Sweet. Robin, I don't know if you're good on time. I don't know if we want to take maybe 1 or 2 more questions and then
We can. I have like 5 to 10 minutes, 5 to 10 more minutes before I need to hop off. But that's fun, guys. That's good questions that are coming here, and I love the info lot. I haven't talked about info lots in a long time, so I'm super happy because we still do them too when they come along. That's great. By the way, another great thing what you can do is you can look up all the house flippers in your area, like on Zillow, right? Or house wholesalers in your area, because they come across land lots all the time and they don't know what to do with that. That's a great lead channel for us, right? Like, so when you know people that are flipping houses, they always get over land, and you could be their dispo channel for that, right? Does that make sense? Could be a great valuable resource too. Even has another question.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, like I was saying, I had been mostly in the single family, multifamily space. And I am very much getting started in this because I've been feeling a really big pull to it. But what would you say is the biggest qualification of a good market? Because I do have a lot of land in the area I'm in. I'm in Tennessee, but
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I'm getting into a good market because I've wasted so much time in my life on failing some other stuff. And I know you learn by failure, but obviously you want to start in the best position possible. So what would you say is a good indication of a good market with land at least?
Okay. So here's my question for you. What's your goal? What do you want to make out of it?
Well,
And that's how I
realistically,
like to approach that, because it's always about you. You found a business to support what you want to do, right? Like, so what's your goal with that? Like, it's an income you need to replace, or what is it?
so funny thing, actually, I just got rid of my financial services industry. I actually just quit the entire industry yesterday. Big spiritual person, felt like God was calling me away from it.
Yeah.
I'm mainly the purpose of what I'm doing is retiring my parents and also obviously just getting good income for that. I really dream as big as possible and I'm willing to put in the work because this is what I do full time.
Great, man. That's a big vision, right? Retiring your parents, man. That's like a huge goal, right? This is where you strive for. But the second thing, what you want to do now is, what is that in numbers?
I mean,
What do you need a month?
well, realistically, what I need a month is probably 2,500, three grand a month. I don't live a big life, but ideally 10 plus.
Yeah. Okay. So let's call it $10,000, and that you would need, right? So here's what I would do, man. Like, where do you live in Tennessee?
Um, are you familiar with Chattanooga?
Yeah, I'm really. I do some deals in Walker County right now, right south of
Oh,
Chattanooga.
yeah, I actually did a single family deal down there. Uh, but yeah, I live right a little bit north of Chattanooga, but I work in the Walker County, uh, Hamilton County area.
Okay. So here's what I would do, man. Like, look at this. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So this is the Chattanooga market, which is a really great market right now, right? What I would do, man, is I would just check out on Zillow a couple of realtors that have sold a couple of lots, right? And talk with them, like get a feeling for the area. Which are the pockets where people want to be? Where's stuff going on? Where are the subdivisions where lots are selling, right? Because there's a lot of stuff going on. I think when you go out east, it's more valuable than when you go out west, right? But this is what you really want to do. So get a feeling for the market. Look up land stats, right? What's moving, right? And then call like a couple of builders in that area, right? To make 10 grand a month, that's like 3, 4 deals, maybe it's 2 deals with a $5,000 assignment fee. But now there's a huge demand in that area. It's a growing town, right? This is what you and me know, right? So what you now want to know is, where are the pockets here, right? Where it makes sense to do deals, right? Like, where's the areas where new homes are sold, right? Like, this is what I would look up. Like, you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back here. Let's go to Chattanooga, right? Like what I would do here is, and we just do that high level right now. I would spend some more time on that. But what you want to do is like you want to no go here for houses, right? Apply. So we pulled the full thing up, and then the only thing you want to filter for is new builds. Where is new builds? Can we filter that here? No, not sold, it's for sale. Auctions, foreclosures, agent listed, coming soon. Foreclosed. Here, new construction. There it is. So new construction, you see there's a bunch going on, right? So you see here in that area, it's a bunch of new construction. You see here, available soon, probably here, like in Blue Woods and all that. There's a bunch of construction going on, right? So I would go in this subdivisions, man, pull some data, like it's maybe 500-600 lots you find there. Give them to lead mining pros, right? They call them up and you have like results tomorrow. You can negotiate with your sellers, but in the same time, you call here Banner Built Homes and Collier Construction Company and like ask them what are they looking for, right? In which area are they looking for, right? Or what else do we have here? Like Collier Construction, Pratt Home Builders, right? Parkside Builders, right? Like, hey, what are you looking for? You need more lots, right? So you build your buyers list as you speak, and you will learn a lot about the market, right? And I would talk to the builders first, spend like 2 weeks on that, right? Learn to know. And I always ask, okay, hey, where are you looking for lots? How much lots can you take down? What are you willing to pay in that and that areas? And now you know, okay, Parkside Builders, once in Below Woods, right here, they want to have quarter-acre lots that have access to utilities that are partially cleared, and they're willing to pay me in this neighborhood 50,000, in this one 40,000, and in this neighborhood 30,000. And when you have that list on, you get that list, get it over, let them pull the data, lead mining pros, right? And let them do the calls. And then you negotiate, like, let's say, okay, you have Belleville Woods, they can pay you 50 grand for a quarter acre lot. You talk to a seller, you can tell him, hey, I can get you 42,000 for that lot or 43,000. Are you willing to do that? Yeah, cool. Contract it out, call your builders, say, hey, Parkside Builders, I have a lot here in Bella Woods. It's $50,000. You want to buy that from me? Okay, you don't want to buy it, but maybe Trust Homes LLC or Pratt Home Builders want to buy it, right? This is how you make that 10 grand in your first month, probably.
Yeah, I know I did have pretty good success in the single family as well, actually doing that exact same process. I did 16 in my first month.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why I left the industry, honestly. But getting back into it, I think that is the route I'm going to take because I'm a logical person and I like your approach a lot better than most.
Yeah, that's what it is. You need to build a business where you feel well in. Does that make sense? Like it's really about you. Like, and that's my message to all of you guys. Build a business that serves you. I was on a mastermind. We met Nicholas last year. Right? We're in a family mastermind. He's probably there right now. I just couldn't travel over there, but there was one guy, Trevor Mock. He's the CEO of Carrot.com, which is like the biggest supplier for investor websites in the US. And he made like a really amazing speech. And one part in his speech was like, you sometimes need to understand if your business is still doing that what you hired the business for. Let that like be with you for a while and chew on that. Like, so when you build a business, it serves a purpose to make you money, to retire parents or whatever. And while you do that business, we sometimes lose track and do things that are stupid and don't align with our values and goals anymore, right? So when you brand new start and you say, hey, land is my calling, I like that approach, it's a pretty simple business model. Get in there, call that builders, get their buyer's box, their buy box, right? And then make an outreach to the lot owners that have these things, and then you have a perfect match over and over and over again. And you can do that in that market until it exhausts, right? But probably Parkside Builders will be around for a while, or Pratt Home Builders, or whatever that is, right? They will probably buy lots from you for the next couple of years.
Yeah, and it's definitely a growing market, even up northeast where I live, over in Cleveland. So it definitely is a good market. I appreciate you giving me that insight.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think, Francisco, that was it. I need to jump. That
No,
was
yeah,
fun.
absolutely. Yeah, I was just about to say, yeah, I mean, Robin, thank you so much for coming on and imparting your wisdom on us. I definitely learned a lot. I'm pretty sure other people have learned a lot as well, too. And then, yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, guys. And join the Land Pilot. We have a pretty active Facebook group, right? Just like type it in. We do it Thursdays at 5 p.m. We do a call. It's always free. We have always great guests. We have this week Land Insights. We have Launch Control soon. We have we had last week the mobile home lady. We have funders on there. It's like every week a different topic that really helps you building the business. And if you want to join our comms calls, I can just tell you, like, it will change something with you. And for $149 a month, it's really a steal. So get it over there. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, Francisco, for having me. And hopefully we talk soon, guys.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys so much.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thank you.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.